fine. Today's episode is on relative adverbs.
To recap, an adverb is a word that describes a verb, an adjective, or even another adverb.
But when using relative adverbs, the point is to use where, when, or why to join sentences or clauses.
Use where to refer to places. Use when with times and dates. And use why to explain cause and effect.
The fun part is to put two sentences together with relative adverbs. So let's give it a try. The coffee shop is in my neighborhood. Plus, he got a job in a coffee house. That equals the coffee shop where he got a job is in my neighborhood.
I got to work, plus there was a meeting. Equals, there was a meeting when I got to work.
She lost her phone, plus she didn't call her friend. That equals, the reason why she didn't call her friend is because she lost her phone.
Relative adverbs are useful when you're putting two thoughts together.
And it's always good to know why people talk the way they do.
And that's everyday grammar.
VOA presents the following National Geographic program as we continue to explore the world around us.
Well, hello, everyone. It's a delight for me to be here and to see all of you here. And I think this is going to be a very interesting and pleasurable evening. Certainly will be for us. So I want to start by telling you a little bit about Mars, a headshot of Mars, taken by the Hubble and showing in, I think, really wonderful detail what the place kind of looks like. In the modern era, when the Mariner flybys went past Mars, they found some things that were really interesting, deep canyons and so on. That increased interest in sending a real sophisticated mission there, and that resulted in the Vikings, spaceships. And before taking off, you may recall Carl Sagan, who's wonderful and incredibly talented person, nonetheless wanted cameras on Viking to see the animals. There was a great expectation that there was going to be not only life, but like weird life, big life, you know, cool life. So when they arrived and they saw a lot of rocks, it was kind of disappointing. And there was a big debate about whether or not there was any discovery of microbial life, something that NASA itself has said no. One of the PIs says yes. It all ended in both confusion and disappointment, for the most part. As a result, Mars funding and Mars exploration took a serious dip, and it wasn't until 1997 that the next lander came onto Mars. By the way, just an aside, there have been 6 successful landings on Mars, and without being nationalistic about this, they're all done by NASA. It's like what we do really, really well. Putting that aside. Putting that aside, in 97, the Sojourner arrives, and then soon after, Spirit and Opportunity, the 2 little plucky rovers that could arrive, and they just do all kinds of things. However, they did not have capabilities to do anything like what Curiosity can do. But before we get into Curiosity, I want to tell you a little bit about what they were what NASA and scientists were generally looking for, which was, remember the mantra, follow the water? Well, initially that was like looking for little gullies and looking for, maybe little streams of spouts that were coming out in some way, or signs that there had once been large catastrophic floods and so on. But when first the Mars orbiter camera went up, and then later HiRISE and others, they began seeing images like these, which sure looks like a delta to me, doesn't it? I mean, it's like that could be the Amazon, that could be the Potomac, dried out, badly dried out, bad drought. And the whole notion of follow the water took on a very different meaning, because it was clear that there were signs, many, many signs, that there was significant water that had run on the surface. And all of the climate modeling said that wasn't possible, but yet it was the case. Also, this picture, which is not a Jackson Pollock, but rather an image of Morth Vallis, which is one of the oldest sections of Mars. And after it became clear that there were signs of water, then they began looking for minerals. There are classes of minerals that are formed only in water, phyllosilicates, which are clays, sulfates, some others, and they began finding those. So they had this orbital information. Now it was the time to do something called ground truthing, which is curiosity. Send curiosity to the ground and let's see what happens. This is the heat shield leaving. You may recall that Curiosity in its 7 minutes of terror would hit the atmosphere at 32,000 miles an hour. It had 7 minutes to stop to zero. Here's the sequence. It's going down. The black is indeed black sand alongside of Mount Sharp, which is the big mountain in the middle of the crater. Here, the thrusters are going. They're about to land. At this point, it's largely the rover itself and the descent device. And then, first picture ever of an actual landing. Look at it. That's the tire right there. That's the tire of Curiosity about to land. And it did. It became clear quite soon that that they landed in a place that was very different than other landing sites previously. They found pebbles that were very interesting because they seemed to suggest the presence of water at some point. They found other conglomerate rocks that did the same. And then also there was the proximity to what appeared to be a fossil stream. All of which are kind of beyond cool from the perspective of people interested in Mars. And the original plan was to go directly to Mount Sharp, which is this huge mountain in the middle, a 3-mile-high mountain in the middle of the crater, but they decided against that and decided instead to take a detour to what turned out to be named Yellowknife Bay. Now look at this. What does that look like? A dried up lake, right? What do you think it was? A dried up lake. That's kind of the conclusion that they came to probably. Nothing like this has ever been seen on Mars before or any other planet outside of the Earth. And it is an enormous breakthrough. To your upper left is Mount Sharp, and that is where they didn't go. But they will go. Because that's what the program says they're supposed to go to. All right. Now, the red planet, right? Mars, the red planet. Every story, except for mine, say the red planet. I say, no, it's not red. It has rouge on it. This shows a rock that was run over by the rover. And look what color it is inside. Bluish gray. And it turns out that most of Mars is colors other than red. That's just an iron oxide dust that kind of covers things. So the red planet, I don't think so. The blue-green planet, maybe. Curiosity has an array of instruments that are unlike anything that's gone before. This was obviously taken before they took off. This is the arm, 7 feet long, with a turret that has drilling